advanced tips for every single dungeon in Season 1 so far. Hey guys, Petko here. So, I got inspired by my own daily M+ tip of the day videos on YouTube Shorts and on TikTok, and decided to make a full-blown video on YouTube exactly giving you one tip in every dungeon, whether it's going to be safety tip or something that's going to speed up the dungeon. You know, it's going to be useful for you to know. Once again, if any of those videos have ever helped you know something that you don't know, make sure to subscribe, because there's a lot of videos coming right now to hopefully help become better M+ player. Anyway, let's begin. I'm going to begin first with Academy because it's the first on the MDT route. So in Academy, there are several pain points when it comes down to pushing keys above 12. If you are doing a lot of the keys between 10 and 11, most of the things wouldn't really hurt. But for the people that are want to get to 12s and higher than that, like 15s, whatever, there are several things to pay attention. First, as obvious, the Ravagers are going to be one of the hardest mobs in this dungeon. Not the hardest, but one of the hardest. And most of the players are dying to them. So there's two ways to actually deliberately take less damage. First of all, you can bait the Ravager by standing the furthest across the party. So I'll give you an example here. My healer, Vicman, loves to bait the Ravagers. So he takes the fronto out of them. However, if you have a class that can consistently evade their charge, so if we see that charge that he's about to do right now to my hunter, who is casual, so you can actually use any ability that removes combat. Fainted, Vanish, Night Elf, Mage Invis, you know, all of those stuff will prevent the guy from casting. As you can see, he just stood AFK, he did nothing. Now this mob leaves a nasty debuff on the player, which is does a lot of damage if you don't have a defensive, and it also makes the mob stay in melee at all times and just do nothing and cast a frontal, which you can sidestep. Okay, so this is likely the best thing that you can do for your party if you can consistently evade the damage. Now again, we used to line of sight this guy all the time. It is not possible anymore. The only thing you can do is just press ability that will actually remove combat. So that's about it. That's one tip that I give in Academy. Seat of the Triumvirate. Honestly, in Seat, I would say it's mostly pretty easy dungeon. There are several things that I can help you with. The first one is those subjugators. If you guys didn't know by now, they cast a chain of subjugation to random members of your party. You can use any ability to remove those chains. I've already made a TikTok short about it. I believe it's right here. You can use, for example, Paladin's Freedom, Tiger's Lust on Monk, Shapeshift on Druid, for example. You can use Shaman Speed Totem for yourself. And there are so many more stuff you can use to actually remove the chains, but those are some of them, the main ones. And that's likely the biggest tip I can give here. That's going to help you become safer. You can also speed up the first boss by crowd controlling the ads instead of killing them. So I've seen a lot of people wasting minutes and minutes upon time on killing them. You can just plainly see the ads, just focus the boss, give it extra 4 seconds. That's a useful tip. For the next tips, I'm gonna keep those for the future. There are several more things you can actually do. I'm gonna gatekeep that until next week. So trying to give you one tip in each dungeon, so to keep it fair, right? Going to Pit of Saron. Okay, this is actually my favorite dungeon so far this season, and I love how heavy AoE this dungeon is. And for the most part, it is also quite fun because most of the mobs are not doing that much damage to the players. They just do a lot of tank damage, and there's like 2 important cards to gotta pay attention to, and that's about it. Okay, but there's several things I always recommend people. First of all, if you are fighting the gargoyles, you see those nasty gargoyles, they have one important ability, which is called Abduction or Plunge Grip. Similar to what we did last season. All you gotta do is just use any ability or spell that removes combat, like once again, Feign it, for example, Vanish, etc., Melt, that can actually remove that grip. Or you can use Paladin's Freedom, Tiger's Lust, you know, stuff like that to remove the grip. The thing is, if you don't do it, he will grip you all the way to the air, stun you, and likely you're gonna end up being dead, okay? So that's gonna be helpful quite a lot. Second thing, so see that boss, for example, it's applying a debuff to you called Cryo Shards. You can actually use, again, because it's considered slow, you can use any ability that removes movement impairing effects. For example, Warlock own personal portal with Soul Burn, Freedom on Paladin, you know, once again Monk debuff. Actually, this time around there's a lot of Freedom is actually very big utility when it comes down to I guess Paladins and Tigers list as well. And Monks very, very huge. There's also one more mob, I believe he's also casting like a debuff to you that slows you, which you can remove. I just forgot which one it was. Was it the Lich this guy? There's one mob that also gave you slow. This one. The Rhineborn, this guy that gives you permanent code debuff. It does a lot of damage to you. You can also use those movement impairing effect to remove them. Actually quite useful. Skyreach. Okay. So in Skyreach, I guess the most important thing to save the most amount of time is after defeating second boss. Instead of walking to the ramp like this and costing you 30 to 40 seconds, you can literally stay right here and jump from here to here. Obviously, not every class can do it, but if you are Druid, Shaman, Rogue, Warrior Leap, DH, like half of the classes can pass through, and you can go upstairs, click the orb, and that's it. For the people that cannot visualize better, I'm gonna try to show you second boss right now. 1 second. So you see that is the second boss, and as soon as you defeat the second boss, you're gonna go to the left side, right? I'm gonna try to show you right now. Come on. So once you defeat the second boss, you're gonna go all the way up, right? So if you stay in this angle right here and jump to the other platform, you're gonna be able to successfully cut 30 seconds. You can do that consistently all the time. So make sure to do it. Windrunner Spire. Honestly, I can't really give you a useful tip here. The only thing that I can tell you how to save more time in this dungeon is, you know, if you walk over the bushes where the Ember Down boss is, if you walk close to the bushes, you're gonna spawn those pasty lashlings. They usually do absolutely nothing to a DPSer, and you can put them on top of the boss so you can enable more funnel and therefore speed up the boss fight. Not again, it's mostly gonna give you 10 to 15 seconds, but sometimes those few seconds can save up the key. Okay, so give it a try. Magisters Terrace, I've already made a full-blown video about it. It is available right here in where is it? In Magisters Terrace, but there are several debuffs around the whole area where, sorry, not debuffs, but like urns in a whole area, which gives you more damage, and they're always located within the first area of the dungeon. So this debuff here, sorry, the buff that you take with a spell boot that gives you haste after the second pull is one thing, but as soon as you go outside, as you can see here, this is the outside area, right to the first boss, which first boss is located right here. You can pick up the small urns on the ground. They are located like here, for example. There's one here. After you pass, after the first boss on the way to second boss, for example, like this one right here, this one right here before this boss. You know, those guys will definitely give you more damage and speed up the whole boss fight. Maisara Caverns, apart from picking up the mandatory feast, obviously, which everybody should because it gives you leech and gives you also avoidance. There's one more thing that I love to mention on a first boss. I don't know if people know that, but let me try to show you. So this is Maisara Caverns, okay? So on the first boss, you see how this bird is gonna cast big AoE on the ground. Wait 1 second. See that big AoE on the ground that she's about to cast? Like this big AoE on the ground. And after the fated Quill Storm, she's gonna spawn a lot of like circles on the ground or like visuals that you gotta dodge. If you stay inside that circle, for example, the bird's about to cast this shit. If you move to where she casted the AoE, you will never get hit. Look at this area right now. Look at the area. I'm gonna start playing the video, and remember this circle. You're not gonna see any frontos under it. Watch this. Watch. Remember that? See this? So instead of dodging this like a monkey, all you gotta do is stay close to the green circle and just move forward, and you will never die. If you wanna dodge and be macho, go for it. But if you just wanna AFK like I do, you can do that. And last but not least, Nexus-Point Xenas. Nexus-Point Xenas, my bad. There's a lot of cool shit that you can do in this dungeon actually, and I guess the best one is you can use so there are rifts around the map that are circle based. Try to find it here. I don't think I have the vault, but those circle based stuff you can stay inside to get haste. You can also use the wait, I made a video about it. You can also use the fuck was it? Seat of Triumvirate safety hack. Wait. Tracking part Nexus-Point Xenas safety hack. Hey guys, Petko here. So you see that chain that this guy is giving you? The guys are giving you. You can also shapeshift that, freedom that, tiger slash that. You don't need to tank it, you know. But this is just an example. See this, for example, this chain is gonna appear here, and I'll get freedom right now, and I'll get it removed. You can also do that. See that? It really helps diminishing some of the damage done to you. So if you wanna do it, go for it. But those are the tips I have so far, guys, this week for you. Once again, I'm gonna keep producing the daily M+ tips of the day quite often and consistently. So if you wanna, once again, stay in touch with everything important, make sure to follow the channel. And that's it. Thank you for watching. Hope this helps you out, time some hierarchies, and I'll see you on stream. Bye for now.